Hello, welcome back to LovelyGirlieBits. Yes, I'm sitting on the ground on the patio because I wanted this in the background. Oh, it's so nice, and actually the ground is really warm. It's lovely. Oh, the fountain is acting up. I just want like a bit of a different background, and also because in last week's video I was showing how I kind of created here, but I didn't really talk about a few things that I wanted to chat about as well. Now, when you are watching this video, I will have been and gone to Spain for a few days, so I have very limited time to do kind of garden bits today. But then I was like, do you know what, I feel like we get so caught up in the doing and the plans and okay, this has to be done X, Y and Z, that we kind of sometimes forget about the enjoying. And yes, while I do love getting my hands dirty, getting busy in the garden, sometimes it's just nice to take stock and sit and kind of like just look at what you've created. In last week's video you saw Catherine and I were, I watched her put holes in the bottom of my 2 barrels that we've got in the salvage yard, but I haven't planted them up yet. Now I did go to the Malahide Garden Centre just for like a look. In fairness, my sister and Will live really close to it, so I was out there anyway. So it's like, I'll just go and have like a little look and see if there's anything that I want to get there for, either for the rest of the border, to kind of put up in here on pots, or to put in my barrel. Now I did get a few bits, I'll show you those in a second. I absolutely love the plants that I got, and when I got home I was trying to figure out what I wanted to put in the planters, and I was like, no, the fact that I don't know what I want to put in them or what I want to do with them, where I want to put them, I don't want to plant them up just yet. I think they're so big, they're going to take up like a lot of compost as well, and I just want to get them right. Do you know, I think they're going to be like such a statement piece, I suppose, for here on the patio. So I think I'm being very restrained. Do you know what, let me actually show you what I got in the garden centre, because I just love them. They're sitting there and I'm just like, I love you all. The barrels are still where they were because it's only been a couple of days since Catherine and I filmed our video. But here I just bought like 5 plants. That's very good. So the first thing that I bought was this Trachelospermum jasminoides. So this is a jasmine plant. This is actually what I thought I had bought for here, which is actually a honeysuckle. Still smells lovely. I got this and I got like an established one. Yeah, €40. It is expensive, but it's already flowering, and it says here that it should flower, it says here it should flower mid to late summer, which is grand. Best grown against a warm sunny wall, and then the leaves turn bronze in the winter. I thought that'd be gorgeous. I was thinking about putting it on the back wall, and then I can kind of put wires and stuff, but with the back wall I would just love to get it cladded. I don't want to have it like that magnolia colour. So either I will watch Catherine's video on how to paint with the sponge, or I'd love to get it cladded in brick. So the cladding, it's not like the full kind of brick, it's like a little kind of flat brick. But I just thought that'd be lovely on the back wall maybe. Then, listen, it wouldn't be a trip to the garden centre if I didn't get a geranium. Roseanne Grouat. Again, perennial. Just a way to save money, says she who cannot stop spending. But look at the bloom, isn't that absolutely gorgeous? There's lots of buds on it already. I'm thinking I will plant that into a border. I'm not sure which one yet, and hopefully that will spread and I'll be able to divide it. So that's the whole idea, is kind of to be able to either take cuttings or to get extra plants from what you're already buying. Then I bought this, the Tirella foam flower. Ooh, hold on. It's breezy today, but look at the flowers. The blooms are like little stars or little fireworks. I love it. You can see the flowers there, but I just thought they were really delicate. I love the fact they were mostly white, but like with a tinge of pink on the tip. Then I got one of these Hattie's pincushion, Astrantia major shaggy. Starting to come out now, so they're kind of like green tipped. I don't know, it's kind of different to the usual white. I thought that they were lovely. Again, there's a bit of height, a bit of foliage, just to give a little bit of extra interest, because I don't want it all just to be about the flowers. I want to have structure, and I want to have plants if they don't fall over. Like, I think those two together look lovely. I love the foliage on that, the way it's starting to kind of change colour a little bit. Hope it's supposed to do that. And then finally I got this clematis. It's called Corinne. It says fits every spot, May to August it blooms. That's how high it grows. But I just loved the colours, so I was kind of between either this one, it's kind of like a raspberry ripple, isn't it? Like, look, hold on, look at that one. So it was either between this colour or they had a pink, and I just thought, no, I think I have a lot of pink and purples anyway, because this is where I'm thinking about putting them. Hold on. So I'm thinking about putting the clematis to the left of the mirror along kind of that panel, and I think it will help to hide the panel of the fence, but also I think the colour of the flowers will pop against the fence colour. I don't know what the fence colour is, lads. People keep asking me and I'm like, oh, I don't know. It's some kind of sage or willow colour, but because I think with what's happening up here, there's going to be a lot of purples and pinks already. The only whites that I have so far are just the stock there at the front. I do have white, the foxgloves as well, but I just thought it would add a little bit of interest. I'll see if it's nice there. Let's have a little chat about the cottage garden in pots here, because it is one of my favourite parts of the garden. In fairness, there's like a lot of favourite parts in this garden, but what I love about here is that, like, sitting on the swing or even sitting on like one of the chairs here at the table, there's just different stuff to look at. And I think if you, first of all, I know obviously if you are short on space, having a cottage garden in containers is really handy. It means that you can try like a few different plants and you can move them around, and that's one of my other main things as well, is that the way this looks now is probably not going to look like that now in a week, 2 weeks, 2 months, because when things kind of die off or when things kind of start to erupt, I'm going to be able to move those around as much as I want and have different displays. On both sides of the mirror here, I have plants that are kind of like that bit taller, but when they start to go over and finish up flowering, I'm going to be able to move things around. I'm going to be able to move them out of the way, put other things so that here will look gorgeous and it will look different. And I think as well, when it comes to, because I'm only doing this garden thing, this is my 4th year gardening, and actually I must actually go back and look at my old photos and videos from like the first year, from 2020, just to see kind of the difference. And even though we have a huge garden, I think it's a huge garden, it's big enough for me anyway, plenty big. When Mam and I first kind of started getting into this, like, Mam is just so afraid of putting things into the ground, of like digging things in, because I think she's just afraid that what if she doesn't like them, it's permanent. And I think then watching Monty on Gardener's World made us realise that nothing is permanent in the garden. You know, you can dig things up, you can move them around. And so if you are kind of maybe starting off on your gardening journey and you're like, oh god, I don't know, is this going to be the right spot for these plants? Having them in pots will make it just that bit easier to kind of see what you like, see what works with the light here. So I know most of these, actually, with the exception of 3 pots here, everything else is from last year or the year before. They're perennials. I know I go mad when I'm buying plants, but I really do try to buy perennials because I want to get the value for money. I want them to kind of come back year after year if I can keep them alive. Like, let's be real. But no, I have achillea here, I have something else there. I think they're achillea. Oh, the little bits that I potted up last week, the stalks, oh my god, they smell so good. And the border then that I dug, that's kind of further on down here, that extends the patio to make, like, it looks like a full border between the patio, the pots on the patio, and then the border. It just looks really full and long and luscious, full of plants and colours. But a lot of the plants that I planted in the ground, in the border over there, are ones that started off up here on the patio. So I know that they like the light here, the sun here, the heat. And it's the same with the little mini trees that are at the end of the border. They were in pots like a couple of feet away from where they're planted now. So if you're like me and if you're not sure, I don't know, when it comes to like sunlight and how many hours and blah blah blah, having them in pots is just a bit less of a commitment. Because let's be honest, like, when you're starting off, you don't know really what you're doing. There's so much out there to learn and to read up and like to get knowledge on. I think the only way we're going to learn is by doing. You know, I can read, I can get all the advice I want, but until I go, okay, I'm going to try this here. If it works, great. If it doesn't, I know for next year not to put something here, you know. In fairness now, when it comes to pots, it does have its challenges, and especially like we've had, oh my god, the last like week or so, it has been so hot, and for the next week coming up now, it's going to be really hot and sunny here in Ireland. I say really hot, it's like 20-ish, 21. That's hot for me. I don't do well in extreme heat. So one of the things that I have learned when it comes to me and the pots on the patio is to keep them close together, because that way they're going to not evaporate as quickly. Like if you have, see, like this, I can't, hold on, this here is terracotta. It's really heavy. The terracotta pots tend to lose water that bit quicker than plastic ones. Now I think eventually I will be phasing out the plastic ones. Any plastic ones that I do have, I'm going to make sure, I think I have actually, that they are recycled plastic, and you know, I try to make the most of the plastic pots that I have. But if you do have like just terracotta pots, yeah, keeping them all together, and then just keeping them all together, especially in the summer when it gets really hot, we'll just make sure that they're not going to evaporate and lose as much water, because I know it's only a matter of time before we are all going to be on like a hose ban issue again. Yeah, so what I tend to do with these pots here is I water them in the evening, so the sun, like this along here, gets the sun kind of later in the afternoon. Like, what time is it now? So it's like 1 o'clock now, and it's starting to get sunny here, so I'm going to have the sun here until about like 7 or 8, and so after that then I will make sure I water everything. Just means then the water isn't going to be evaporated by the sun, and that it will just have that time, that cooling time over the course of the night for the water to go down. Then sometimes actually as well, when it comes to pots, so I have a big bucket kind of, there's my, is that my shed there? Yeah, so behind my shed I have this big kind of garden bucket. You can get them, like, they're really cheap, and get them in the likes of Deals and that. And what I like to do as well when it comes to the pots is, in the summer I'll fill it up with water, and then I will sit the pot in that bucket, and you'll see, I'll show it whenever I go to do it the next time, bubbles will start to appear, and that is like showing that the water's been kind of taken up by the soil. And so whenever it stops bubbling, that means that the pot has taken up enough water. Because when it comes to pots, you might think when you're watering from the top and you see water coming out at the bottom, you're like, okay, that's grand, it's saturated. But a lot of the time the soil in the middle, it's completely dry. So I do like to either do the dunk, or I have kind of plant saucer thingies that I'll sit the bottom of the pots in and let them water from the bottom up. I do that with all my little small plants. I do it with my seeds as well. Like, rather than water on the top, I kind of water from the bottom, because I don't, sorry, that stopped spurting there. I love my little thing. Actually as well, when it comes to pots in the summer, I do like to mulch them, so either with kind of bark, or you can get straw. It just means like that, first of all, you're going to suppress the weeds, but then again it's going to keep that moisture in. So I will be, probably next week whenever I'm back, I will be getting bark just for the tops of all those, because listen, we have to try and be as smart as we can when it comes to mulching. Actually, I must go back and look at my previous video, one of the earlier ones from this year, when Catherine and I went over to England. It was like a garden exhibition thingy, and Hugh from Hugh's Gardens was there, and he was talking about mulching, and I think he uses grass clippings as well. I was like, oh, that's a great idea. But I totally recommend creating your cottage garden in pots. Just makes me so happy. I don't know, half the things are there. Okay, as you can see, I'm back on the swing. I'm holding you up with one arm, so we'll see how long that lasts. But do you know what I was thinking as well? So along with, kind of ties in with this theme of the video about enjoying and kind of appreciating what you've done, I'm going to go around and I'm just going to film like little moments of joy. So I haven't been out in the garden in a couple of days, and I just want to see what's changed. But no, I urge you to do that, like even if it's only a few minutes every day, just to get outside, have like a little look, see what's happening in your garden. And that's what I'm going to do now, so let's have a little look. Okay, I will say one of my moments of joy will be in about an hour, when the sun moves so that this stops like squirting. It's very sensitive to the sun. Anyway, so look at this. So the catmint is starting to bloom. I absolutely love catmint. If you're into your cottage gardens, or if you want like height and structure, definitely check out catmint. There's so many different varieties. I don't know what one this is now. It's lovely. Then look at this. I only noticed this morning, and it's kind of what inspired me to do this little thing. So this is my Salvia amistad, and the blooms are starting to come on this. Where's the other one? Another one there. And these are going to look unreal when they're ready, when they're like blooming. It's going to look like a big dragon. Oh, I can't remember what these are, but they're starting to bloom. Oh my god, the flowers are so delicate. They're adorable. Also, my stalks here, the extra little buds are starting to open up. This smells unreal, gorgeous. Oh, look. So I have this mass of buds, and look, one of them has opened up. think this is like one of those asters. Oh, I love anything daisy like. Oh, see, this is why I love doing this. Now hold on, look, the honeysuckle's starting to bloom. I can see the buds starting to come up. There's so many, I need to cut that back. What's happening here? My little fuchsia, there's one coming up. Oh, it's more flowers than that geranium. I actually love that. I'm gonna be interested to see how far and kind of how much that spreads. So I know that I've mentioned this before. Did not do oh, I did. So that's one of them. That's the other. That's the other. All three of those are from the same plant I divided them last year. So it's going to be interesting to see, because like the one at the back is usually in a bit more shade, and see how it goes compared to these ones here that are a bit more in the sun. Look at that, it's starting to. Oh my god, they're gorgeous. Oh, I didn't know that was going to be a pink one. Verbena is starting to bloom. It's probably too late to move her now, but sure, listen. Oh look. Hold on. Oh, I love this rose bush so much. I wish I knew what one it was. So wait till you see, like, this just changes colour. These roses starting like that colour, that they go like a bright pale pink. Look. Oh, I need to treat these for black spot, but can you see that little tiny bud? Put my finger beside so you can get a comparison. So my mum just did like random cuttings, stuck them in this compost and hoped for the best. Can we just take a moment for the lupins? They are unreal. Look at the colour and the size of them. It's my hand for size. I'm absolutely loving these alliums. So I didn't plant those. They must have just been in the pots and I thought that I'd cleared them out. But I'm so going to have lots more of them next year. I think I actually prefer them over daffodils. I'm going to put them in like all the borders. I don't know, was it the last video or the video before? I was slightly out of frame when I was filming this, and I'm sorry because sometimes it can be hard to see what you're filming, especially out in the sun. But this is what I did for the sweet peas, and this is going to help them grow. It's just like twine and I just tied it. So it's going to help them grow and fill up the whole square rather than them just growing up one and across and growing up one. I want it to be completely full, starting to attach themselves, so that's good. And the same on this side as well. So every time as they reach hopefully further up, I'll do the same thing again. So many buds on this rose, like look. Oh, I can't wait. I didn't see that. Where is it? Look, that bud is ready. Almost ready. Oh my god, that colour's going to be fab. I don't even know what this will look like. That's going to look unreal when it's up the arch. Oh, this is a different rose, but you can see the buds there as well. Look at them. See the little bits? Are they going to be like the seeds? See the little triangle bits on the centre? Sure, we'll see. Okay, I know that was like a very different garden video, but you know what? Sometimes that's what you need, is to just sit and take stock of everything that you've done and just enjoy it and appreciate those little moments, because now is the time in the garden that things are going to change. They're going to change on a daily basis. Like, I probably won't recognise things when I'm back. Like, I'm only going for a few days. It's just so nice. Like, now is the time where it's changing. Like, I think we've been so impatient waiting for things to be like start to sprout and grow and everything, and now it's like, okay, things are kicking off. It's time to get busy. But anyway, thanks so much for watching this week's video. I will see you next week when I will be back from Spain. I will be refreshed, rejuvenated and ready to get stuck in. Have a lovely Sunday and I'll see you next week.